Okay, we are live, and I'm sorry about the delay. Now, let's see. This is a public live stream, and I'm currently using the screen now as a mirror. Which here's a inside YouTube insider tip: do not use the live stream as a mirror. And I'm sorry about my pronunciation there, but yeah. It is what it is. Now, I am going to wait. I'm going to talk a little bit in general about my situation here. And then I'm going to get into what I think might be one of the first and most drastic changes that we are going to see. And we are, in fact, seeing it already. Now, people are joining the live stream. There are people in the yeah, when you get to a certain age, your mustache starts growing upwards. That's what I say, and into your nose. Okay. So we have people in the chat. We have Johnny from Malibu. I have been to Malibu in California, actually. I took a swim there, which I was advised against that, and that was exciting because of the waves. The Pacific is a large ocean, I understand. Martina is here from Luxembourg, and Julia, the Netherlands. Yeah, well, I'm not going to talk about the Evergrande issue in China because I haven't been able to look into that, but it certainly is within the same topic, if you will. So what I can do and what I want to do is to tell you how I experience these changes. And I realize that some of you, or a certain portion of the people watching this, are not house owners or home owners. So, but still, this will affect us all. So, I believe that it will become too expensive to own your own home in the very, very near future. And I can tell you right now what I am observing. Okay, so me and my wife, we bought recently the properties surrounding our property, the property with where our house is, right? Paulo Duarte, well, thanks a lot for the donation. I am this day is not so bad. Fridays, I like Fridays normally. And again, thank you for the donation. Wonderful. Thanks a lot. It really helps. Yeah, so I am a house owner and I own 3 houses. Okay. Well, when I say we together as a couple, we own 3 houses. And we rent out one of the houses, one of the cabins, and I am now sitting in the third one, which I use right now as a office, as you can see, because we have carpenters changing the outside paneling or the planks, the wooden boards on the outside of our main house. So that's the current situation. We have to do this with our main house because it was starting to rot. That was necessary. It's been necessary for some time. Now, I have also in the past many years, I have been renting out a flat in Oslo, the capital of Norway. So, and also I come from a family we have been into real estate, so it's in my blood, if you will. When you own a large building, there are lots of expenses, and it's an extremely risky business. So the development that we saw back in when I had to sell my flat because of the taxes, and what happened there was that, well, in general, what happens is that the smaller, what's the word when you rent out something? What's the word? A house landlord. Is that what you call it? So what tends to happen is that because of the expenses, because of certain laws and regulations, you have to, in the end, sell that property. And large companies will buy that property from you. And that's how it works when you have more and more expenses, more and more obligations forced upon the landlords. I hope I'm using the right word there. And it can make you go bankrupt in an instant. Okay, it's high risk. It's high risk, and you also have, of course, like I would say, about half the people who rent, they will tear up the place and they won't pay the rent. And then you have the expenses of tidying up, painting, and all that. So I do not think it's fair when people talk about the landlords as evil people, because that's not the reality. That's far from the reality. Now, what happens when these large corporations buy the properties and they rent out? What happens? Because that is what's happening. And what happens then? Well, basically, they do as they like. Well, they have to follow the laws and regulations, but they do as they like, right? So this has been going on for many years now, and I'm talking from a Norwegian perspective, but I think we are seeing this in many other countries as well. Now, let me talk about, let's just put this here and keep that in mind, what I just said. Our current situation is that we do have the money to pay for the changing of the outside paneling, the wooden boards on our main house. But it is extremely expensive. It is, we got a price quote about a year ago, and now it's about 60%, between 60 and 70% more expensive. So, as you can understand, this is not something that you can take, it's serious. It's very serious for our personal finances, right? Now I work a lot. My wife works a lot. She's a police attorney, and I'm a novelist and a YouTuber. So together we are able to pay for this. Now, can you imagine if we had only one income? We would not have been able to fix up the house. It would have been impossible. So we would have had to sell the house as a, I think they call it a fixer-upper. And you will have sold it to someone with a lot more money, maybe a company, and they would have fixed up the house, or they would have torn down the house altogether and built like 4 new houses on the same spot. So this is also something that we need to keep in mind, okay? So we have in both these instances, if you're not able to pay for what you need to do with your properties, larger companies typically will buy those properties from you. Okay. So the costs of timber, we all know this, it's been rising dramatically. The cost of workers have risen dramatically. And there is really not a good reason for that. The people working on the house right now, they are not Norwegians, right? I can tell. They are not Norwegians, which is totally fine, but it's like, I mean, they are not getting the major part of what we pay them, what we pay this company for the hour, right? I think we all understand that. So, and again, that's in a free market. That's totally fine. That's totally okay. What we are concerned about, not concerned about, what we want is that the end result is a pretty and nice house where everything works. And I think we will. Well, I hope. I hope we won't have any problems. So, then yet another thing recently happened. And I think this did not only happen in Norway. The interest rate has started to rise. Yeah, that's great news if you have a lot of money in the bank, right? Not so great news if you have a mortgage or a loan, right? And most people, they have a lot more, they have borrowed more money than they have saved. So you have increased costs of doing what, if you're going to do anything with your house, it's going to cost more, much more. The interest rate is rising, and you have these companies that are ready to buy the houses, the properties, right? Do you see where this is going? Can you see where this is going? Here in Norway, if you own a house, and that is viewed in Norway as a goal, right? It's a good thing to own your own house. But recently, leading up to this, especially leading up to this election that we just had here, there was a lot of politicians on the left saying that, well, they were framing people who own their own house as rich people. And as we all know, the rich people needs to be taxed more. Yeah, tax the rich and all that. So I guess the taxes are going to increase as well. Well, we know that they are, because they are saying that they will increase the taxes. And people walk around thinking it's not, well, it's only the rich, it's not me. But guess what? If you own a house, you are one of those people who will get an increased tax level. So it's like this. Wherever I look, the prices, everything is getting more expensive, when it comes to houses and owning your own home. It's getting more and more expensive, more and more expensive. Why is that? Why is that? And the only reason, when it comes to timber, for instance, the only reason I've seen is that, well, because they had these beetles in Canada that ate the timber. No, it's like that's yeah. I guess they had that, but that doesn't explain this. Of course, it's like don't come to me and say things like that, because it's like no. There is something going on here. There is something rotten. There is something, and I'm not talking about the timber. There is something going on here that seems, dare I say, coordinated. There is something going on here that makes me think that certain people in power do not want me to own my own house. They don't want me to own, well, especially we own 3 houses, and I guess that's qualifies as a major, one of the deadly sins, right? But listen, here's the thing. Let's talk about the environment a little bit. We have 3 old houses, and we're doing our best to keep them, in shape, and we will rent out. We're renting out one of the cabins, and we would rent out, well, maybe not this one, because my daughter might want to have this cabin here, but we're not greedy. We want nice people here. That's much more that is much more important than the money, right? We want some nice people to live here as our neighbors, and I've never seen any other attitude than that when it comes to, if we can say, smaller landlords. Yeah, I'm not so small, but we're not like a corporate. We're not like a big. We don't have a lot of properties that we are renting out, so that's what I mean. So why? I mean, we should be asking why is this happening? And then we come to this infamous sentence from the World Economic Forum: you will own nothing and you will be happy. And as most things that comes from that forum, you never know if this is something that they want to happen, or if it's something that they think is going to happen, no matter what they think, no matter what they feel about it. I suspect that they want this to happen. But as a house owner and a landlord, I know one thing. Someone's going to have to own the buildings. Someone's going to have to own the cars that you will be renting. There is nothing will happen without ownership. And this is important that people understand. And people on the far left, like communists and people like that, they don't understand this concept. But if you have a house and you don't have an owner, the house will rot and fall down. So who's going to own these houses? In my local area now, I see several houses being put up for sale. And this happened just after they announced that the interest rate would be increased. So, I mean, this development is so extremely easy to spot. It's like, if you can't see what's going on now, you're being very naive. Matthew, thanks a lot from New Zealand, I believe. Thanks a lot for the donation there. Yeah, okay. Even during lockdown here, house prices have still been well over $1 million on average. It's unbelievable. Also, we'll look into New Zealand. Well, doesn't surprise me. Sorry. Okay, I'll try to keep an eye on the chat here. We have almost 500 people here, and this is not a good time of the day for most people. Would be so cool to rent one of your cabins. Well, it's occupied right now. I'm here. But yeah, well, and Martin says that housing prices in the Netherlands are insane. So let me just finish my line of thought here. Increasing interest rates, increasing prices for timber and work. What that means is that less people will be building houses. And also, let me add that for a long time now, the laws, at least here in Norway, have been such that it's not profitable to build cheap flats, like relatively speaking, cheap flats. So the flats that they are building are larger, and typically you will have, older couples who are selling their house and they want something that is easier to manage. They will move into those flats, and we will have less homes for people who are just starting out, getting into the property market and all that. And that's a problem. That's a big problem. Citizen Guardian says, stay safe, trust your instincts during these interesting times. Yes. And thank you for the donation. Thanks a lot. Mackenzie River is now a member to the channel. I'm doing, members only live streams quite often. So welcome to those. And Mark Marvin, seems the whole world is in a financial crisis. Exactly. And thank you for the donation, by the way. I can't imagine that we will, buy land and build a house there. I cannot imagine that happening, because I am not a carpenter and I do not have the time to build a house. I just don't. I would have to take a year. No YouTube videos for a year. I don't want to do that. And I feel I don't have the skills. And paying someone to build a house now with these prices, no. It's not going to happen, and many people will be thinking the same. So when you have also less people building houses, it will put extra pressure right on the market, and that will increase the prices of houses. This is not a good development. It really isn't. And we bought these properties around our original property so that we would avoid, and this is important, we bought these properties and these 2 cabins because we did not want to have a company coming here and building like 8 houses or something like that, because that's what they are doing in this area. And we did not want that. We did not want to see them chop down all the trees, and no. So that was a major reason, protection of this area. And that's very important to us. So I know that, some people will say, well, you have 3 houses. Are you greedy or what? No. I want to protect what's still here of nature, original scenery, and peace and quiet. So I just wanted to mention that. Paul Whitlow Jr., thanks a lot for the donation. Very much appreciated. Thank you. So, okay. Yeah, I wanted to point this out because I see a lot of polarizing comments and videos as well on YouTube and so on about the housing market, and people are saying, well, the landlords are greedy, and other people are saying, well, the opposite, and so on. And it is extremely naive to look at this as isolated factors, because this is all these things, they interact with each other. Okay. And the development we're seeing now is that everything is getting more expensive, and I believe that we will see this, the most dramatic changes we will see in the housing market. Okay. James Noble, thanks a lot for the donation there. Very much appreciated. And Matthew Austin, thank you for the donation. Should have mentioned the topic for New Zealand is, if we get the chance, our prime minister is from a socialist background. It's anti-democratic, it seems. Okay, I did not know that. It is, this idea that you should not own anything, it is extremely dangerous. And the people who are saying this and the people who believe it's a great idea, they are playing with fire. Because I truly believe that the owning your property is a good thing. It makes a society more solid. It makes a society more healthy. And when they increase the prices, not only the prices for building a house, but the prices for everything, so much that you can no longer afford to own a house, you get a population that will be more nervous, more when you don't have roots, when you don't, what's the word? There is something about owning or aiming to own your own house and knowing that that will be a reality in let's say 5 or 10 years. There's something about that. It builds strong roots, and if you take that away, you take away a lot of the initiative that people need. John Henry, thanks for the donation there. Okay, let's see. Okay. Tom Sebren, well, thanks a lot. Small gesture to support your channel. Thank you. Thank you for sharing all the bushcraft knowledge and fresh perspective on things. Ha det bra. Tusen takk. Well, tusen takk, Tom. Yeah, I don't do much bushcraft on this channel. That's on my other channels. But yes, I will be getting more into bushcraft, and I promised again, I promised I would go for an overnighter today. I can't because there's a birthday that I was not supposed to forget. So there's that. James Noble, if I didn't say so already, thank you for the donation. Okay. So, yeah, the way I was brought up, I had to work, okay, on the property, my father's building, the main building there. I had to go there while the other kids were moving the snow in the driveway of their house. I was doing that around a large building with lots of flats in it. I even had that. I was a little bit older when one of my jobs was to go down in the stairs, the stairway, is that what you call it? And at the bottom there, sometimes in the ground floor, people with addiction problems, they would get in there, and gather there, and it was my job to chase them out. So yeah, I would not. That's not a job I would give my son. But so yeah, so it kind of toughens you, and it makes you appreciate. It makes you appreciate ownership, and it makes you understand ownership and what goes into it. It is something that it's very valuable to teach your kids about ownership and what that means, and the responsibility that comes with it. So okay. Yeah, well, I can't see all the comments, but I'm just spotting one now. NC Brit. And so yeah, I have glasses now, but I didn't bring them. Meat, yeah, meat is expensive, it says here. Yes. I've noticed that as well. It is. And we're not supposed to eat meat, but I eat a lot of meat every day. It makes me feel healthy, and it makes me healthy. Ann-Christine, hi there. Wow. Thank you for the donation. I will have a beer and say skål to you later. Good Friday, and well, good weekend. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay. American Nordic, a good friend here, says that when it's your own, you have pride in it, and they don't want owners. They want renters who pay their taxes. And yeah, I won't say the last part there, but and check out on time. Why aren't you supposed to eat meat? Well, it's this thing that the environment, right? And from what I understand is that if you eat meat coming from cows that walk outside on the fields, it's not damaging the environment because there is it's a cycle there, right? So what they are talking about when they're saying that meat is bad for the environment is actually when they get rid of all the forest and they plant grain there to feed the cows and also to make fields for the cows, for the cattle, which is not what we do here in Norway. And I only eat Norwegian beef. So, okay, I'll have to scroll down here. Yeah, soy, I would avoid soy. It's neither environmentally friendly or healthy. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, well, now, this is one part, right? This is one part of all the things going on now. And I'm only giving you my perspective on this. I have not looked into this in depth. I have not done that. But I am someone who, right, as we are speaking, I have people working on my house. I am a landlord. I own a house. I have several buildings, and I have rented out a house, a flat in Oslo for many years. I don't do that now, but I do have some real life experience in this field, and I hate to see it when people get emotional and start saying things that are polarizing, because it doesn't make it easier for anyone if we can't see the bigger picture here. And the bigger picture is that it's becoming less, it's becoming more and more difficult to own your own house. And that will also mean that the small landlords, right, the people who have, like, for instance, if you have a house and you're renting out the ground floor, in at least in Norway, it's quite common that you have a house and you have a separate entrance to a flat in the ground floor. This will be more and more difficult to do because of the prices. It will be too expensive. So we will end up with corporations renting out hundreds, thousands of flats. Like one corporation owning 1,000 flats. Can you imagine? Do you think they will care about the tenants? They won't. They won't even know the names of the tenants, right? So, I also, yeah, I think I said so already, that we need to look at this as part of a bigger picture, and also what I mean, for instance, just throwing this out there, how will this affect our mental health? I can tell you that when I had to sell my flat because of the tax, that's the inheritance tax, it was not good for my mental health. I didn't get mentally ill, but it was highly stressful. It was not good at all because I had plans to keep it and but I had to sell. And if owning your own home is something that is just unrealistic for young people, that's not a good thing. It will take away some of the incentives for especially young people to work, to create something, and it might even destabilize young, newly established families. I mean, children, they benefit from knowing that this is our home, we live here, and mom and dad, they own this house or this flat. It's that's a good way to grow up for kids. And if that's totally out of the question, if that will be a thing of the past, that's not good. That's not good at all. Okay, so the the meat thing. Just spotting a comment here now. Hylia says it also deters people from having children. No stability, exactly. And well, it depends on where you stand, what you believe in. If you think that people shouldn't have children, well, go ahead. You can tax people then into oblivion. Why would then? If that's your goal, make sure that people don't own their own house, their own flat, take away their stability, and break up the families. It's like, but me, I believe that it's natural, it's good and healthy to be with the same person, and if you can, well, sometimes life happens and all that, but at least it should be seen as a good thing if you are with, if a couple stays together. It's good for the children, of course, and it's what we have done since forever. Yes, I know we were much more tribal and so on earlier, but for a long time, the nuclear family, I don't like that name, but have been the foundation of Western society. There's a reason we have been so successful. And we must not forget that. Okay. Yes. Bork says, I bought land and built a kit 5-car garage that I now live in. The small home movement or tiny home movement could save us. We don't need big houses. We really don't. For me, it's much more important to have nature surrounding me. And I think that we should watch the rules and regulations being implemented closely. I suspect that the governments will make it more difficult to live in a tiny home or mobile home. And I've heard some rumors about them making that more difficult in in the UK now. I mean, we should watch that closely, because if you can build or buy a mobile home or a tiny home, and that could be the solution for especially young people, and the freedom that comes with that, especially if you have a mobile home, it's just awesome. You could live in a boat, for instance, and yeah, so we must not forget that that's a solution for many people. Okay, so yeah, I want to complain a little bit. People are telling me that I look tired. Well, it's always nice. It's always nice when people say that in the comments and so on. And I work a lot. There's a reason I work a lot, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. I think that it's wise to make an effort now to make money. Okay, and save money. I do not believe that money will be worth less in 2 years. I don't, or 3 years. I do not believe that. I think it's probably wise to cash in your mortgage so that you have as little mortgage as possible, or none. But I work a lot now. I really, do the best I can to bring the money in now. That sounds to some people greedy, I guess. You never know. I don't care. But that's how it works. And nobody's paying me by the hour. So I have to, it's the end result that counts, only the end result. So I work a lot, long days, and I plan to do more live streams, more videos. I hope to build up this channel. I'm now at Bjorn Talks. It used to be, I didn't take this channel very seriously, to be honest with you, but when I started it, it was just a, some live streams and no real plans for this channel, but I really want to build up this channel as well. So, would you ever leave Norway? Christian is asking. I would absolutely leave Norway if I find somewhere with more freedom and close to the sea and less taxes, because the taxes here are just ridiculous. It's not even funny. So, okay. How much taxes? Yeah. Well, I pay on my income close to 50%. Yeah. And you also pay VAT on everything you buy here. So when you spend that money, you will pay like 25%, I believe, in addition to the price. I also pay taxes on everything that I have saved up on my bank account, and stocks, and the value of our houses, so that they will make sure that nothing is left for my kids. Yeah, 50. That's what, and they also want to increase that now because we're getting a new government, so they want to increase the tax level. Yeah, I pay tax on savings. Yes, I do. So yeah, my investments, you have to go risky with your investments here, or they will eventually evaporate. Yeah. And also now, if you have a company, you pay, I can't remember now, 20-something% tax. And that's why people say that, well, the rich, they don't pay any taxes. They pay 20-something% tax. And okay, it's wrong. This is wrong because when you, now how should I explain this? Okay, when you have a company, first you pay from the first krona or dollar you earn, you pay 20-something% tax on all that, right? And then you will pay, I think it's 1/3. No, is it 28% on everything that you take out of that company and put on your bank account. Okay. And that's the part that people don't seem to grasp. Okay. So it's not true that the company tax is your tax, because if you're going to spend any of that money, you'll have to pay tax a second time. Okay. So interestingly enough, I see tax havens are being mentioned here. The president, the Biden in the United States of America, I think he lives in Delaware, and Delaware is a tax haven. So that's funny. Yeah. I don't know if it's different now that he is in the White House and all that. Maybe that's his new address, or I don't know. So, okay. Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, I will have. We are taxed on the interest. If you have, how should I explain this? I'll read the comment. At least we only get taxed on interest made on savings here in the UK. Yes, we do that in Norway as well, of course, but we also pay tax on the value on the amount of money on that account. So, okay, Lincoln Kane. Well, thanks a lot for the donation. I don't know if I'm brave, but I hope I am. But I mean, we're all talking about this, and we should talk about this. It's extremely important that we do now. And here's a funny one. Now that we are talking about taxes, and I forgot to mention this. The power to your house is also getting more expensive. And why is that happening in Norway? I mean, we have so much power here. We have the turbines in the waterfalls and all that, and oil and gas. Sorry, but now they are increasing the prices like a lot. So it seems like the reason is that they, the big, partly state-owned, I think, companies, the power companies, they are selling our power to other countries. And then they are blaming it on the lack of rain. They're saying, well, it's the lack of rain that's what makes the prices go up, because less rain means less water in the waterfalls and less power from the turbines there. So I was watching this actually yesterday on the television, and first you have like the price for the power itself, and then you have a fee. Maybe it's called an environmental fee or something like that on top of that, and then you have VAT on the fee, right? So it's you're being taxed for the tax that is being added to the already very high price for power. So I found that amusing in a disgusting way. Okay. So I'm going to end this live stream now. I want to thank you for all the donations, for joining the live stream. Hope you like my studio here, and I'll be back suddenly. And have a nice day. We'll talk later. Bye.